Hey, it's Soleil, and this is episode 241 of the Orange Pill Investor. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about MicroStrategy and some trigger events. I think everybody's talking about FASB inclusion in Q1, which could trigger inclusion into the S&P 500. And for anybody who doesn't know, FASB stands for Fire Away Situation Ballistic. And that could certainly send MicroStrategy into the stratosphere. But there's something else that I'm watching, and it's not necessarily a binary event, but it's the 52-week high. So there's something psychological that happens in the market when something materially surpasses its 52-week high. There's like FOMO and all kinds of weird stuff that happens to our monkey brains. And so we had 200, this was pre-split, it was $2,000 when MicroStrategy just went crazy. And let's just look. So it surpassed its all-time highs, but certainly its 52-week highs were surpassed here. And that's, I'm not saying that that's the only reason it went nuclear. Obviously, it's pacing Bitcoin. But this doesn't just work for MicroStrategy or this can happen. This type of irrational behavior can happen to any stock. So I am eagerly anticipating when MicroStrategy goes to like 220, 210, 220. To me, the gloves are off, and it would not surprise me to see that set the stage. I'm not saying it's going to happen immediately, but this, even this giant spike took a month. So we had February 23rd to the end of March. So 4 to 5 weeks it took basically to go from, and if you could include this, if you say one from 50, maybe that took 6 weeks. But certainly from here, it went from 70 to 200. So is that like a 2.5, 3x in 4 to 5 weeks? So if we see something like that again, of course, I'm still expecting some kind of movement around, a surprise earnings. And I probably have to say not financial advice like 2011 times in this video, but the market can do whatever the hell it wants. So just because I think, when it gets to 52-week highs, the market's going to FOMO, it doesn't have to. You can flip a coin. There's a 50% chance it will and a 50% chance it won't, if we're just talking about math. But I know some momentum traders that literally just filter for any company that's approaching its 52-week highs, and then they just sit and watch for the FOMO to kick in, and then they'll place some long calls, short-dated long calls, and then get out within day trading, so same day or the next day. I don't really jack around with that stuff. However, it reminded me a little bit of this old school video. So before Matthew Crater was Bitcoin University, he was Trader University. And I dug up this old ass, actually, I had saved it away because I didn't want to lose it. It's a pretty cool video of his. And it was talking about an old Z-scaler trade. And they were watching the chart, and you get some higher highs and higher lows. And the TLDR version is once, you've got this big ass correction here, but then it starts building some momentum. You got higher highs and higher lows. and then it starts to trade kind of sideways in this box, but it can't go lower. You're getting these higher highs and higher lows because institutional investors won't let it, they're accumulating, so it won't let it get lower. And then you maybe get some, you get some horizontal movement here. And then he's saying that once you get this sharp move and a breakout from this box, that's when it's off to the races. And in this chart, he didn't really talk about 52-week highs, but it does kind of correlate. So this is about a year's worth on his chart. And so it looks like these $47, it was the previous 52-week high before it had a correction. And boom, now we've got this large trading volume. We cleared the 52-week high hurdle. And then, let's see, if you scroll out, this is the breakout from the box. And then Zscaler proceeds to go to 72 back from whatever, 50. And I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. And so we had this 52-week high here. We had, MSTR going to the moon from 50 to 200 post-split prices. And then we had the correction. It went down 50%. And then I just saw an MSTR daily report, and he was calling this higher highs and higher lows in MicroStrategy over the summer. But I mean, I'm not a TA guy, so you can trust him probably more than me. But I guess if we start here, this is a low, higher low, higher low. I don't know if these are the right ones or not. But we still haven't cleared this one. So I don't really see a higher high until we clear this. And then once we clear 200, to me, that's when I'll be expecting something like this. That's when it's like, okay, we are about to catch Godzilla candle or whatever the hell. Now, this may or may not happen. But I've seen it happen before, a number of times that that FOMO really kicks in when something clears its 52-week highs. So I'm excited about that. And so I guess really the move up to 210 or 220, it's not mission critical to catch that entire thing. So I only have I've got about 2,000 delta in positions that are covered. So I've got 2,200 shares and 20 of them are covered. Various expiration dates. Some are at the money. Some are out of the money. And for me, I need to reduce my margin usage before MSTR earnings. I would love nothing more than to just really, if I had the balls, I would just sell all my shares and buy long calls with it. But, fuck, I'm not on camera. All right, let me see if I can fix that. Not that it matters. But, all right, there we go. Maybe I guess I love the spotlight. But yeah, if I was a complete degen, I would just YOLO into long calls completely. And I have considered moving all of these shares into poor man's covered calls, but that's pretty risky. And in a margin account, that really doesn't do much. I have a video on that anyway. I think that trading on margin or selling using poor man's covered calls gets you about the same returns. So they have different risk profiles. And I'm going to try to hold on to as many of these shares as I possibly can just for long-term capital gains purposes. I have to look and see when I acquired all of these. Not sure how much time is ticking on these. But I absolutely really want to get this buying power up to around 100,000 before 11.6. So I may either have to sell off a few of these shares or just let them get called away. You know, let some of these 172.50s get called away. Just to create some breathing room here. When Tasty Trade on 11.3 reduces my margin buying power like in half to 3/4, like they did to me last time. I just about shit myself when I went to bed a few days before earnings and I had about 75 grand worth of 75, 80 grand worth of buying power here. I'm thinking I'm good to go. And, you know, kind of considering adding positions. And then I woke up with like 10 grand of buying power. I forget exactly what it was, but it was kind of scary. I thought something had happened to MSTR's price overnight, and I'm looking and I'm like, okay, the price didn't move. Why? How come I have no buying power? I was freaking out a little bit, but that was their explanation is they try to save their investors from themselves and reduce the amount of they increase their margin requirements, which reduces the amount of buying power that you're going to have. And since 90% of my portfolio was in MicroStrategy, it my buying power just disappeared overnight. And at that point, if MicroStrategy had crashed even 10%, I'd probably be screwed. But actually, that would have been fine because the day after earnings, they would have reverted back to their regular margin requirement. So it's probably not as scary as it seemed, but I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with margin call. So I am going to have to peel off a few more long positions or just hope that I'm collecting a bunch more cash. If I can collect another 20, 25 grand worth of options premium in a month, that's asking a lot. Yeah, I'll either have to sell some shares or sell off some long calls. But I'm still kind of okay with that as long as I get back irresponsibly long again before we clear this 52-week high hurdle and before this happens, before we get this gap up that just sends the whole market into FOMO. So I think we've got something like this to look forward to, and the Q1. Now, if both of those things happen at the same time, like if we just climb to 200 all the way to Q1, I mean, that would be kind of for where this could go. It kind of doesn't matter, but that would be wild as hell if we're still not to $200 a share before Q1. But if we get 52-week highs and that new FASB fair accounting rules all in the same day, that could be the candle to end all candles. So good stuff to look forward to. And, you know, I leave the TA to everyone else, but I have this video in my options beginners playlist, and every once in a while I go back and look at it, and then I stare at the chart and try to like force I try to force the chart in my mind to make it look like this. I'm like, yeah, kind of higher highs, higher lows. Okay, trading in the box. And, you know, it's probably just, wishful thinking. But I will put a link to the artist formerly known as Trader University video in the description in case anybody wants to go back and watch the whole thing. But yeah, it's pretty wild how he was kind of like the ultimate TradFi account, and he got his laser eyes and went so far as to just change his name completely from Bitcoin Trader University to Bitcoin University. And can't wait to see this happen. And once we do get a God candle, I can't wait to go back and compare it to this chart of his, and see how well it matches up. See if this plays out according to plan. So that's all I got for now. Be good, y'all.